Welcome to Learned in Go-Go, the podcast. My name is Sydnee A, and I am your host. I am also the author of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. And I am so excited to welcome you to Season 2 of Learned in Go-Go, the podcast. Now, I'm going to start this episode with a little bit of a bummer. If you have watched Season 1, then you're familiar with my friend and producer, Frankie. And I've been waiting to record the first episode of Learned in Go-Go, the podcast, Season 2, with Frankie so that we could go over Season 1, talk about some of the things that we had done. And unfortunately, as a lot of people who play hockey do, he has a concussion. So let's send some thoughts and prayers, good juju, whatever you believe in, over to Frankie that he can heal up quickly and hop back in this soon. But for now, I just wanted to start the second season, get us off and running. And if you're not familiar with Season 1, I highly encourage you to go back and check it out, if for nothing else, because I think I'm a lot better now. I lovingly call my first episode of my podcast ever the book report, because it sounds like I'm sitting there reading in front of my 6th grade class and sharing about the details of things that I have read or watched, and I've grown a lot since then, I'd like to believe. So please check it out. It's available on all of the same platforms as this one. And I am also encouraging you to pick up your copy of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, because this season I'm going to be concentrating more on my book, the lessons that you learn, the stories that are told, and it's got a lot of fun stories as well as good information. So today, to start off Season 2, I am super excited that one of my besties has agreed to join me on this crazy journey of podcasting. And he has a special, special place in my heart with the book, and I'm going to share that with you in just a minute. But for now, I want to welcome my bestie, Steve. Yay! Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me on this.
Glad to be here.
Awesome.
Going to be like a joke. But I thought that's really not a complete cold start.
It's not scary.
My cold start, if like a big shot like Leonardo DiCaprio came right on and was just like on looking around like stage fright, frozen.
That would be. I'll reach over to your side and be like, no, like I'm starting the lawnmower. Like, come on, let's do this.
Do that again.
Just the internet, right? No. Here's Steve.
Oh wait, what? Hey.
Welcome to my podcast.
I need to be primed.
We have fun here. Yeah. Wait a minute now.
I'm starting too early.
That's what he said. So I wanted to share with everybody that this season, like I just said, I'm going to be focusing more on the book and the lessons and the stories. And the reason why I'm super excited that you are my first guest for Season 2 is because you are the first person that ever read my book that wasn't me or the editor. And that is a very, very special place to be, because
I'm ground zero.
You are ground zero. Yes. And if you remember, it was because you were sick at home and asked if I would send you the book. And I was like, very, very first time parent. It was my baby. I didn't want anyone else to hold it.
I do remember you were pretty a little bit like pulling teeth there.
But I'm like, you have to not show it to anybody.
Right. It was like trade secrets. It's the recipe for KFC or
exactly. Toll House cookies or something. Well, I guess that's on the package. That was a stupid example.
Toll House. Toll House. It's like
not the Toll House thing. But yeah, so
Is that what we're gonna call it now? The Toll House? That's not very sexy sounding.
We didn't get to the clubs yet. We're still in the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toll.
The Toll House cookies.
Well, I guess if you're paying, that is what it is for me, right?
How much would you bet there is a woman who has danced with that as their stage name?
Oh my god, that would be hilarious. It's got
House cookie.
well, there's already a gatekeeper at the building, so
that's true. That's what they call the bouncer. He's the Toll House.
Yeah.
But we're skipping ahead because I was going to share with everyone at home.
The little boat or the little man in the wait, whatever. Sorry.
I wanted to share with everyone at home how we initially met because we have been friends. I was trying to figure out, it's like 17 or 18 years now.
It is?
Because of the age of my youngest.
But
and
it's always
she
been
was
10 years. As far
it's
as
always been 10 years. Just round it to a decade. Yeah. No, we're going on 2 decades.
We agreed that this was 10 years.
It's just crazy.
It is.
When you think about it, because I hung up the heels 16 years ago. And we were friends for a while before then.
Yeah.
So isn't that nuts?
That's me more than 17 then. It's like
that's why I said 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Because of working at the ballet before I worked at the firehouse.
Tell me that hasn't been raised to the ground for over 10 years now.
I think it has. Let's all take a moment of silence for the buffet. I'm hungry. I'm sorry. The ballet.
The buffet where they never got rid of the spoiled food when it was there. It's like it's just a mishmash.
Everyone needs to take a moment and realize that go-go bar buffets may or may not be a good idea, depending on the
food's 55 years old, like me.
But yes, you and I met at the ballet.
Yes.
And I loved that. Do you remember the first conversation, what we started talking about?
I remember early on talking about Peter Gabriel and Shock the Monkey. And the other thing, no, one of the very first times was probably even before that we were talking about Petra.
Exactly. Well, what happened was I was dancing to Shock the Monkey, the Ozzy and Coal Chamber version. And then we started talking about the Peter Gabriel version. And then we started talking about music and how, I don't even know how we figured out we both came from religious upbringing.
It was
meeting in a titty bar.
Probably, though. So
it was the first time that we met. We were talking about Christian music, but Shock the Monkey was what I was dancing to when I met you. That's what started our conversation.
That's right.
Isn't that funny? You never know how you're going to meet somebody that's going to become a major part of your life. It could be as simple as I chose that song.
Right. What if you would dance to something like that? I know you love them, but what if it had been Nickelback the first time? I've been like, oh, that's just a Nickelback.
Don't tell my secrets on my show. No, I do love Nickelback, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And they're very good.
Now you aren't so sure.
What did you say?
You told me you weren't ashamed of them. You were proud, but maybe that's just in private.
No, I have no shame in my game, and I listen to all kinds of things. But Nickelback is very good titty bar music. So
I can't argue with it. Just it's ubiquitous.
It's like everything else. When it gets played into the ground, it gets annoying.
Yeah.
And they were the 2000s version of Winger in the 80s. They weren't any cornier than anybody else. They just got the label because of Beavis and Butthead.
And I will say, anytime I've seen the one guy in an interview, he seemed like a really nice guy. So I'll give him that. So that counts for a lot.
And they're corny all the way to the bank. So I really don't care that they think people hate them, because enough people don't that I'm sure they make plenty of money.
Like, Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish is probably like, oh, really? I'm not authentic. Well, I got 5 kids that went through school paid for.
Exactly. Yep. I like Darius Rucker. He seems like a nice guy too. I don't know anything about him, but he gives off nice guy vibes.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think if I've seen anybody dance to Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm sure someone would have had to.
I know I've heard it there. I know I have. Probably like, how am I possibly remembering the real name and not
the stage name?
Yes. I'm just like,
That's
not
just
the
come up with another fake name. It's okay. Nobody's gonna know.
okay. The other one that was Storm's age, but like
Oh,
really annoying
Carolina.
person, blonde.
Carolina, we'll
I
call her.
I think so. The singer.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
giving her a different stage name that's
Oh
similar
yes, very
to.
similar. Yes.
Yes.
Well, not that similar, but yes, I know what you. Yes.
Yes. Okay, we're
Exactly.
talking about the same person. She was very sweet. And this is something that I talk about in the book is that there are people dancing of all ages. And we had girls that were still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had girls that were in their 50s and probably beyond, which I remember thinking, wow. And now I'm like almost 50 and I'm like, that ain't old. Like your perspective changes.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I mean, even back then, the one person we're talking about, Carolina, I thought she was really pretty and cute even then. Like, and that was, as you said, 18 or 19 or 20 years ago.
Right.
Well, I was 20 years younger than her then. I was like,
That's insane. Wow, gosh. I wonder what she's doing now.
wait a minute. That means she's like 75?
That's what I mean. Yes. That's wow. But she was so
like,
pretty, and she was a good dancer too. She didn't just get up and walk back and forth. Like she put on a show for the guys when she was up there.
She did.
So
She did.
kudos to Carolina. We're gonna,
Yes.
and I hope that whatever she's doing now, she's happy and healthy and safe because that's enough. Like you have to worry about if you're in the game that long. There's going to be a point where they're like, okay, you got to go. You're going to break a hip, and we don't want to get sued.
She's not dancing that. Well, I don't know. Science.
Are you though?
Science.
Are you? Because there's somebody else that we know that still is.
Still,
as far as I know, a couple of years ago was. Yep. Not going to mention any names, but yeah, I'll tell you. After on the DL. I'll tell you. But it is like there's what's the phrase? There's a crooked lid for every crooked pot. Like there's guys like all different ages, all different styles of women. So I think you can agree that we've both seen a variety, a plethora.
I've seen dedicated regulars come in for someone who I thought like is just something like, shouldn't you be visiting this person at a group home?
But that's what they find attractive. So you can't discount, and not just in go-go bars, but in life in general.
True everywhere. I mean, just speak to a single person at Walmart.
There's all different types of beauty, and people find beauty in all different types of people. So we should all be kind and not judgy about people that aren't necessarily our crooked lid,
Yes. Being crooked. I'm trying to go with a lid metaphor, but I'm kind of frozen here. It's like the crooked, uncovered part of the cup, the hole, the crooked hole.
The crooked hole. I've seen those. Bicycle accidents are no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally making this up. But trying to think of why else you would have a crooked hole. It's like the Harry Potter score, but it's like the Harry Pooter. Guardians. I can't even think of another word for a titty bar spell, but
Hogwarts.
Don't say warts.
Oh no!
Oh my God. I love that it's episode 1 and we are already off the rails. This is such a Sydnee program.
Yes, it is.
I love it.
It's ridiculous, as you would say.
It is ridiculous.
The originator of the word. Copyright 19.
Once you're worse than ridiculous, you are ridiculous. That is true. But yeah, so that is how we met. And we have been friends, like we were saying, for longer than we can even believe.
Yeah, because honestly, I kind of thought I was an older person when I met you.
But I think that's another reason why I enjoyed sitting and talking to you, because I wasn't a spring chicken. I wasn't, I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 30s. Yeah.
We had to be, because
I would have been like right at the beginning of my 30s. I had to do math, and I haven't had enough caffeine.
Like, well, I was in my no, I don't know if I was. Now I think about it. Well, yeah, I guess I had to be. So I was in my late 30s then too.
Right. Yeah.
But I was
because I remember when you turned 40, and I remember when you turned 50. So
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
and you were at my 40th birthday party, and you're going to be at my 50th. So
yep,
it's all good. Mark your calendar. Another thing I'll tell you off the air.
On the way of that 40th other thing that I did on my 40th for my 40th.
Your celebration?
Yeah.
Gotcha. But you, yeah, right. Wink. So it's funny talking about different types of customer dancer relationships, because not everyone is someone, the vast majority of people aren't people that I would invite into my personal life as well. So that takes like
proud.
Yeah, well, very few people that have made that crossover. I have a friend from the first bar that I worked at, which next year is going to be 30 years we've been friends. And that's crazy to me.
Oh my God.
Crazy to me. Yeah, right? Like, how I blinked and I'm this old. But we've gone to concerts, and like I'm friends with his wife, like we're just friends, but that's how we met. And it's just like me and you, we're friends. We just happened to meet in the bar. But then there's other people that you make sure security is walking you out, because you don't even want them to know what your license plate is,
I remember people even that I wasn't that close to, like, asking me to walk them out and stuff. It was like,
yeah,
well, especially at that one place where they cared so much.
There's unfortunately a few of those places, but most of the places I work, they did make sure that we had security to walk us out at the end of the night. But even still, if you remember Victoria, and she and I would drive, like I'd give her rides to and from work. And the one time we were leaving and we got followed, and I like was flying all through these streets, and they were staying with us. So I just immediately went to the police station because like that's what I've been taught. If somebody's following you, go to the police station. And they like flew through the parking lot and left. But it can be scary. So it's nice to have someone like you that is, a safe. It's like base. I walk around for tips and I come back to base.
Yeah.
And I hang out with you.
I did feel like home base sometimes. I was like, okay, yeah. Just like.
Yeah. So if you don't mind sharing with the home audience, what is your experience starting to go to these clubs? Like because we both came from a religious background. So how did you make the switch, if you're comfortable sharing that part of your life?
When I started going, I was still very, very much a Christian hardcore believer. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something so wrong. I'm going to get addicted. I didn't get addicted, but it was
like, well, truth be told.
It was like, I gateway drugged into it. So I was like,
so did you start out in Jersey where it's just bikini bars, so that it wasn't like immediately naked, or did you like?
I started even earlier than that. I started like, it was a big deal going to Hooters with Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can say his name. That's no problem. I wasn't even care.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that there was the wings.
Yeah,
to get you.
Yeah. There was the wings to get. I was like,
the wings to get to the breasts.
And I was like, you know what? They're so like friendly here. And being, the big fat guy who very seldom got to date or anything, actually. So it was like, I started thinking like, I'm getting older. This is the time. I think I was like 30, maybe 33 or so.
That's like
And
80
I'm like,
in Bible age.
yeah, it is 80 in Bible years. It's like, especially if you're lying about it, like they always lied about their age in the early parts.
You're 842.
Oh, he's 969 years, but that was in Bible years. You know, they're like 7 years for every year.
Dogs.
You don't look 900 years old, Methuselah.
I can just picture you in Hooters, like having that kind of inner conflict of, I was told this was wrong, but I'm having so much fun. But because it's wrong, it's even more fun.
Yeah. There was like it was an escalating thing, and multiple times. It took a couple times asking, and I think both were after a Hooters dinner. And Jimmy's like, "Come on, let's go over to the Conshohocken Ballet." Actually, I think he called it 7th, and it was like it was. And I was like, I don't know, man. With my luck, I'll meet somebody there who's really nice to me, and I'll fall in love and be hooked on her, and that's pretty much what happened.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was making sure that you wanted to say it. Yeah. It wasn't me, by the way.
Nope.
It was not me. We've only
ever
been
friends.
Exact
opposite incident where somebody bought us a lap dance.
Well, I was going to tell that story too.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to spoil.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Go finish your story here, and then we'll circle back.
Oh, here's that brain thing again.
So you went from Hooters to the ballet.
Oh, so we went over, and this was back in probably like 2003 or 4, maybe. And so that being at the time, it was before the crash of 2008, so things were picking up again, which means that like even though this was like a shit bar, like and a strip bar, it was packed, like 3 rows of people standing around the very tight aisle around the bar that filled up the whole room, and then had in the middle of this normal sized dive bar at least where the bars are in the middle, not against the wall, is the two poles on this micro stage. It was,
yeah, that was a small stage looking back.
Yeah, I mean, oh, that's not the one. That was the bigger stage where the person's leg came off. But anyway,
save that. I'm writing that down. We're talking about that later. Okay. So you were in the ballet, packed bar, tiny bar, but packed with a bunch of dudes.
And it was pretty. There was a lot of girls working, and a lot of really hot girls working, and I was just like, it was. Like I said, I started everything really late. It was late. This is how churchy I was, but those were the first naked boobs I ever saw in person. I mean,
wow. Okay. So I can see that. That'll get you hooked.
Yeah, I mean, so imagine what it used to do to me. So,
like, what did it? I missed that.
Cleavage before that used to do to me.
Oh wow. Okay. What? I got my. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. We're just friends. Exactly. You're like, no,
Mister, look.
What's funny is the people that are listening on like Spotify and have no idea what just happened. They're just hearing it.
Oh, right.
Go to YouTube and check it out.
Anything could have just been happening on screen and you wouldn't know.
Exactly.
I could have put my hand anywhere and it was over my eyes.
We can't see his hands right now. I'm just kidding.
Hands back.
Exactly. But yeah, so that was actually a couple years before I started working at that bar, because I went from, let's see, I was in Philly, and then I forget how I wound up there, because our friend was the DJ, and I asked him to see if he could get me a job, because I was not as fit as I am now, we'll say, after having my youngest. And he got me the audition, and I was a bigger girl then. And I talked to the manager, and I said, look, if you give me a chance, I'm going to lose the weight, and he's actually, like, I still talk to him occasionally too. And he said, you're the one person that told me that actually did it. He's like, and when you auditioned, you could actually dance. So that's why he gave me the shot, was because it wasn't just, because I don't think it was like disgusting, but I was definitely heavier than I wanted to be. And I could still swing it around the pole.
I certainly found you attractive at first. I mean,
Oh, thank you. But that was how I wound up.
A little teeny crush on you there. It was like,
yeah. Oh, it's because we had that same abusive childhood. No,
you know, the kids that are beat together.
Yeah. Thankfully, my parents never did. Like
your parents are nice people.
I was going to say your experience with that is completely different than mine because, mine growing up in the church and everything, you grew up in like, if I may say, cuckoo church. So that was like, it took my experience and magnified it. Yeah. So I think that is also another reason why you found solace in this environment because, it is like people don't understand if they don't go to go-go bars that it is like welcoming in a way, like
it's more welcoming. It's way more welcoming than church. I'll tell you that right now. It's like any church. And all right, I can hear the people out there right now. All the ones who are still churchy who are saying like, my church is different. No, it is not different. Your church and everyone's church is a little closed circle clique. And the first time people come in, if you're lucky, they remember that like, oh, right, we're a very big recruiting kind of religion. So we're going to come up and be like, hi, would you like to be our Stepford person? We need somebody to work in the nursery.
That's what the women do.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I mean, I think more recently women are allowed to be like in the praise bands and stuff. But I know there are some sects that the women are only nursery workers, like stuff like that. Like
really
a dude can change a diaper. Why can't a dude change a diaper? Why are you just asking the ladies?
Actually, I changed some diapers. Oh my God, that's weird. Actually, now I think about it, the singles group in our church had a special day. It's weird, but it is kind of nice for people. We had a day, like, I don't remember whose idea it was, but like to do something nice for other people in the church. One of which was, it's always the same women who work in the nursery, right?
Right.
So, which is why they need help, I guess. But we did an activity for the young adult singles was to take turns in the nursery for a month or something for everybody, like to give them all a month off from nursery work in the church. So
well, that's very nice. I like that. Yeah, because we used to have.
It's weird, but I give them credit for thinking of it. It's
like there was my mom started a group for young moms in their church, and like the grandmoms would watch the kids so that the moms could go out and have fun and do something. So that was kind of a cool idea too. Like, and those are the good things, like I have big problems, but I will also give kudos where kudos are due. Like I don't just, I'm not just going to blanketly shit on something. I will point out the good things as well. So
like I've said, I mean, there's some of the very best people I know are super churchy, like, and I'm the very best. I mean, they think that it's because, they're churchy and got God inside. I think it's because they're in spite of it. They don't know it. Like, no, that's all you, pal. That's like, you're the good person.
And the thing is, if that's what drives you and gives you happiness and that's wonderful. And I'm happy for you. But that doesn't mean that you need to try and recruit me because, I'm not in that space. So, like, I think we both have our aspects of things we've taken away from that experience that we still apply, but then the actual organization is what I have an issue with.
If I hadn't started going to, hold on. My brain just like totally, it was like, I probably was like going to say something and I like realized this isn't as like related as I thought. I thought it was like a complete exactly segue into what you just said, like a response. And I'm like, that's not a response.
I literally just watched your train crash. Like I saw the facial expression just go.
I'm like, I practically turning this into a therapy session. Like, stop that.
I'm here for you. You know that.
Oh, thank you. I promised myself I wouldn't cry on this podcast. I'm getting verklempt.
But I think that you and I have both been there for each other for all kinds of things,
Yeah,
from
everything was just like.
Yep. And that's why it was funny when you came into the bar with a friend of yours. And now you can tell this story.
Oh, yes. This was after like at least a solid year or two of like us hanging out, like to the point where like when you worked at the other club, to hang out with you, I was like, all right, this is how immune to boobies I got. I literally remember I used to come down to hang out with you at the one club down in Delco or something.
The firehouse.
The firehouse, yeah. And I was doing my taxes. And it was that really, really bad year where it took like 50 hours to do my taxes.
Right. I remember you had your laptop and you were like in a table in a back corner away from everything, just like. But this happened at the ballet, though.
Yes, this was at the ballet.
Yeah.
I went with another friend of mine from another place that I used to frequent of the same ilk. This one, at this time, I had a really big crush on this girl, and she was looking for other clubs. And of course, I was the safe guy to go around to check other places out and have somebody with. And so my friend here, who was a very nice person at the time, and it was like, he wanted to be like, she's like, oh, let me buy you a lap dance with because she had obviously, like, you would obviously come around and talk to her and met her because I came in with my friend, and she was buys me a lap dance with you, like, as a surprise.
Would not take no for an answer.
Yeah. Oh, right, we did. And we're like, no. Right, because we went, and she was like, no, come on. But I had not like really fully explained that, like, and then and it was on the spot, and she was like, oh, so we're like, well, you're like, I'll take the $20, whatever.
I politely declined multiple times at this point, and I literally used the words, that would be like giving a lap dance to my brother. Like, no, we are really good friends, and we are not. And she just insisted. So finally, we go back into the lap dance room, and I just sat on your lap like Santa Claus, and I was like, hey, what's up? And we just talked for the whole song, because I think your hands were firmly like keep your hands outside the car at all times. It was just like the most uncomfortable 4.5 minutes or however long the song
really was oddly uncomfortable. I was just like,
I'm just like, okay, I'm just sitting so I'm not standing in the lap dance room while everyone else is getting lap dances around me. It's just very, very odd.
I remember when we came back out and she realized, I guess we had a look on our face like, well, all right, I do remember her saying, like, I'm sorry I got you a dance with your sister.
It's just like, this is not happening.
It wasn't that either.
That was so funny. And that's the place I used to get in trouble, because I realized that if you moan during couch dances, then they might end faster, and then you don't have to dance as long. And the DJ
might end faster.
I'm being delicate here. And the DJ that was working that night was in the booth right next to, I guess I was in the champagne room giving a dance, though. Remember when there was like overflow, so they'd send you into the champagne room to do lap dances?
Oh, yeah. Did you ever talk about how ridiculous the couch dance room was at Seventh Heaven?
I'm not sure.
Like,
but this particular time, and then tell me what you...
Oops, go ahead.
No, it's okay. No, I just, because my train will crash if I don't finish my thought. But the DJ was right next to me, and his girlfriend was in jail. And he's like,
as most DJs' girlfriends are, or vice versa.
And he was just like, don't ever do that. I can't listen to that when my girlfriend's in jail. So mad. I'm like, I was just trying to get, this couch dance over in 30 seconds instead of 4 minutes. Sorry. But what do you mean about how weird they were at 7th?
The couch dance room, first off, those weren't couches. Those
were
they
were like chairs.
Like when Barnes & Noble used to have chairs, but they were cheaping out and getting the small ones. It was
They're a step up from folding chairs.
Yeah, step up. They weren't folding chairs, but they had cushions, and they were jammed up next to each other. So on a busy night, you literally, the side of your leg is like at the movie theater. It's against the guy next to you.
Weren't they like half circles? Like, didn't they have arms? They were like a half circle.
Like the Barnes & Noble chairs. That's what I meant. Like the
I must not be spending enough time in Barnes & Noble.
Right. Yeah, so like your legs.
But you can go to barnesandnoble.com and get a copy of my book. Okay, sorry, shameless plug. But yes, it was very tight in there, as we like to say.
It was very tight there.
The tight environment in that couch room.
Were so tight; they left nothing to the imagination.
But there were actual couches in the champagne court, though, right?
Yes, there were couches. Well, technically, they were love seats, but yes.
Well, they were bigger.
Torn cushions and stains, and it was beautiful.
You'll never go in there with a black light and luminol.
Holy crap!
Probably that too. But
ooh,
you know some of the people I worked with.
Yeah. Oh my God! I just remembered the story about some of the people who worked there who like to use a trash can as a bathroom.
I don't remember that.
You're like, wait, what?
I'm like, wait a minute. No, I must not have been there that day because I don't remember that. Or maybe I blocked it.
Yeah, that was one that the Canadian, can't remember her dancer name. Told me.
I do, but we'll just call her the Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't always work the same shifts together, so
that's true. That's true.
I don't think I was there for that. Thank God.
Some of the staff that was from different places was using the big trash can if they didn't want to wait for the bathroom.
That's disgusting and horrible, and they should have been banned forever. That's not acceptable behavior.
And other people. Well, you know what? I think there were actually physical fights about it. Now I think about it.
As there should be. Yeah. Don't be gross. I mean, there's of course going to be things that go on that, would not be happening in polite society, but that is way past the boundaries of acceptable behavior in any place. Like, no.
Yeah. That's unacceptable at the farm show.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's wow. I don't understand people, man. Like, but that's, I did share some stories in the book of different things that happened at different places. And I definitely would have included that one had I been there for that.
Christian rights work. Now people are going to start like, oh, I don't ever want to go to one of those places.
Right. Exactly. That's why I'm like, that's not normal. That doesn't normally happen. That's definitely out of the norm.
Yes, very much, very rare. You have to be going there for years to even hear about that happening.
Yeah, that's not a normal instance.
And there,
because you do get like
now. I mean, oh my God, they would keel haul somebody at Creekside for that.
Right, I bet.
I think the other girls would, as much as like 7th was a dive bar, I think the girls at Creekside would have handled it.
They would have been like the end of that.
Yep.
That's what was funny at the one place that I worked, they got raided. And then like when they're interviewing all the girls outside and they're like, I would never work in a place where people do drugs. And I'm watching the news. I'm like, you're the biggest customer they had, dude. Like, it's so funny. Like, I would never do that.
I was so naive to how much of that was going on too. Even I was just like, what? Everybody seems pretty pretty on top.
Well, that's one thing that I never got into, thankfully, because
see that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I definitely got drunk, but I didn't get into drugs, thankfully, because that's a very slippery slope that I've seen too many people fall into. So I am glad that never entered my radar. And there were some people that I do feel bad because they've been battling a long time, and it's sad. So that's
entered my radar there. So that was the problem. That was the negative part for me. But yeah.
Well, you've been beaten that for a long time, so I'm proud of you for that. You beat it a long time ago. Yes,
6 or 7 years now, actually. Shit.
That's awesome. Very good. So proud of you.
Thank you.
Of course. No, that's super awesome. Yeah, I was trying to think of some of the people because every bar has their regulars, and that's how I met you. But then there's always like that corner where the people hang out, the regulars hang out at the one little corner. And we were talking
first for the really comfortable seat.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Steps. It was like we can hide.
Exactly. And I remember one day I had because I wear contacts, and I had gotten an infection from my contacts, so I couldn't wear them while I was putting the drops in, and I had to dance with my glasses on. So I took it and I ran with it, and I did this whole like librarian look with the suit. Do you remember this? I had like, it was the skirt,
actually,
and I had like the thigh highs and everything. Yeah. So I'm sitting at the bar in the corner of regulars.
Yeah.
And there was another guy that wasn't a regular at the bar sitting outside of their little area. And I'm just sitting there, and I got up and went on stage, and I just hear, no fucking way. He thought I was like the accountant for the bar. He didn't realize. And then, of course,
best fantasy bar ever.
Right, exactly. And then, Italian and Verizon and all of the regulars were like cracking up at the guy because he didn't realize I worked there.
Yeah, you idiot.
Steve and I were discussing a guy that I'm referring to as Verizon because I don't know where he is nowadays or what he's up to, but he had an accident when he was younger with a lawnmower. So he lost the ends of his fingers, but it looks like the bars on your cell phone. And the bartender used to always be like, can you hear me now? And I'm like, that's so mean. Like, because he looked like the bars on your phone with his fingers.
Did he always like tip like this, hold the dollar? Like it looked like, if I can get it in front of the camera, like.
Well, he had his other hand, but he'd use the little pinky nub, and he'd be like trying to act like it was a really good commodity to have in bed because he had a little nub he could. I'm like, okay, good luck with that, sir.
Most people don't brag about their little nub.
Well, I guess time and place,
It's really flexible, though, I guess,
It's not how big it is, it's how you
wiggle.
use it. So, if you can wiggle it.
I call it Batman supervillain. He's the Wiggler.
The Wiggler. That's hilarious. I'm changing his name now.
It's
no
like,
longer
how
call
dare
him
you?
Verizon.
No. It's like, it's the Wiggler. How dare you? Oh.
We've all got our talents. Yeah. He turned lemons into lemonade there, so it's all good.
That's got to be a villain backstory. I just turned lemons into lemonade.
Speaking of lemonade, remember when one girl in particular would dance to R. Kelly, and I'd sing, go and pee-pee in the tub, and she would get so mad.
It was steam coming out of her ears.
You gotta have fun, no matter what your job is. You have to have fun. So, and there's.
I was just thinking, like, I used to talk to that person on the phone a lot on the time on her way home, and I just was thinking back to this time when she, again, like, because I was safety guy too. Like, to be fair, in this, sorry, remember me not to touch my phone by accident in case it's ringing, and I'm like. So anyway, not that this is like an embarrassing story for me. I'm not the one who was terrified in her car for nothing. But she's like, don't hang up. I feel like there's something in the car, right? And she heard a voice, and I'm like, someone's in the car, right? And I'm like, I don't hear it. Like, what are you talking? And then I heard it, right?
Right.
And she's like, well, and I'm like, and she didn't actually carry. But like I'm like on the phone, she's on speaker, of course, and I'm like, you know what? Well, when you get to a light, just stop and get your piece out of the glove compartment, right? She's like, okay, not the light, but like I'm gonna wait till I get home because I don't want to call. Like she's trying to make up something to like
right
story, like
because she doesn't actually have one.
Yeah, I mean, and considering who she lived with at the time, they would have been very sorry if there was somebody in the car when they got there. But it was like, Well, they would have been sorry for long because they would have been gone. But it was like, but anyway, here it was a freaking Happy Meal toy her kids had left in the car. This is how ordinary you think, like, you know, this dancer who made up a fake life for of licentious libation and stuff is. They're driving
she's
home.
getting Happy Meals.
Terrified. Yeah. The voice was a freaking talking Happy Meal toy.
That's hilarious. That's totally something that would happen to me.
That would be like a Chucky toy, maybe.
Exactly.
That would be something that would.
That's 100% something that would happen to me. So I feel for her. But that's, you know, that's another good point, is dancers are just regular people too. And a lot of us were working because we had families and, you know, stuff to support. And it's a job. At the end of the day, it's definitely a unique job. And it's, you know, there's a lot of differences between that and your regular 9 to 5. But, you know, the whole stigma that comes with it is unfair because it's just a job.
Oh my God, we're still on the very first rabbit trail from when we're talking about how welcoming it is there.
Yes.
I realized that.
Well, there was a lot involved in that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool though, because it's true. Like when you go in now, granted, when you go in as a worker, sometimes it might not be so welcoming because there is, you know, the new girl. When you first start working there, everybody hates the new girl. Well, you were the new girl once.
Well, there's usually like from what I've seen.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, Steve's moving his laptop around and it was just like craziness here.
Here, this is like a simulation. This is what it used to be like when I still drank. The drinkulator.
You're making me nauseous. Please hold your camera still. But you were saying about the new girls?
Oh, there was always there was the welcoming ones, and then there's the queen bee ones, and of course, then there was the insecure, which surprisingly there was a lot, who would, you're right, be really mean, and especially if you were, you know, an attractive girl who was like, otherwise they recruited you for their little stabbings. So,
right. But that's the way it works. Whoever was new would make new girl money because it's fresh meat, you know, and then
like,
that doesn't last forever. And then you're just
up from your drink. You're just like, oh, I haven't seen that before.
But yeah, when the new girl came in, it would definitely garner a lot of attention from the customers, especially the regulars, because they have their friends. But then, you know, it's normal to want to change it up a bit too. Oh. So we also discussed, you know, in addition to the new girls, how there's the queen bee and there's all the different types of girls that work there, which I mentioned in my book, which I'm going to put the information of where you can buy your copy. It's available in paperback and ebook. And if you get a personalized signed copy, you not only get it signed by me with a special little message, but you get a free bookmark and a free compilation playlist and free shipping in the US. How cool is that?
Very nice package. What else did we get? Who else?
That's what he said.
Very nice package.
But I was trying to think, because, you know, I do discuss the different types of girls that work there. And it's almost like the Spice Girls. You know, you get
yeah. There's Sporty Spice and Baby Spice. There's usually even one of those. And
yep. And there's the girls that are very atypical that you wouldn't imagine working there. I worked with a girl named Xena who was a bodybuilder.
Of course she was Xena.
Your ass. Yeah, like of course she's Xena. Yeah. And then there was one girl that she was built like a linebacker, and she always used to dance to Back Up, I'll Take You On. Remember that song by Trapped? Headstrong to take on anyone. And it'd be like terrifying because she was so like broad. And I'm like, yeah, she is. She's telling you to back off. Like that was not
proper Surgeon General's warning.
Exactly. But the nicest people, you know, and it's just atypical of what a lot of people envision, you know.
Yeah. And there's like, you know, the very like nurturing people there too. Everything. It's like
yep. It's a whole little microcosm of The human experience.
Yeah, and you got the unbelievable airheads and stuff. Like you were just like we're like flat Earth is grounding for them.
I don't know if you remember the story in the book about the girl that I worked with, that we had the phone in the dressing room and somebody called. Well, no, you know what it was? I'm getting ahead of myself. She got a page because this was back when everybody had a pager.
Oh my God.
And she kept going, I know this number. I know this number. And we're like, well, call it. And she's like, do you think I should call it? Because I think I know it. We're like, call it and see who it is. And she gets on the phone and she's like, oh, okay, yeah. And hangs up the phone. She goes, it's my house. It was her roommate calling.
Oh my God.
I couldn't make it up, I swear to God. She was just like, that little giggle was so cute. And she's like, it's my house. It was so funny. I'm just like, sweet.
I wonder, she wouldn't have been freaked out even in Mulholland Drive. Did you see Mulholland Drive?
No, I didn't.
Oh, there's a scene where what's the guy's name? Balthazar Getty or something? The actor?
Oh, yeah, Balthazar Getty. Yeah.
Actual real life murderer. It was like anyway, his character in the movie is this bilocational supernatural super creep. Okay. Coming into the main character's house and filming him and his wife while they're sleeping, and then leaving the videotapes on their doorstep.
That's so horrible.
So he's at a party. This is before anybody knows anything's really, like, they know they have a stalker problem, right?
They just don't know how bad it is.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. Okay.
They're at a Hollywood party because it's Mulholland Drive, right? Like, inside outside pool and all that, and rich scene, and it's an evening party. And he comes up to her. He's got his drink, and Balthazar Getty. He's like, it made up to look really pallid too, right?
Okay.
And he's like, oh, it's lovely seeing you last week or whatever, something like that, right? And she's like, what? Who are you? And she's like, I've been watching you sleep. I've been in your house. I was in fact, and he's like standing there at the party with her, and he's holding his drink. He's like, I'm in your house right now. Right?
Oh my God.
And she's like, oh, what? And he goes, here, call me. Call your house number.
Oh.
Right? So she dials, and he answers the phone over at the house, and it was like, now give me back my fucking phone.
Oh
But his mouth wasn't moving. It was in the phone.
Right. Oh my God. How does that work?
It was like one
of
the
you said supernatural. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was one of the creepiest scenes in the whole.
I got goosebumps. Oh my God. That's
And a couple years later, it came out that he shot his wife for hire, like had her killed.
I missed that story completely because I loved Balthazar Getty in Young Guns too, which is one of my favorite groupie movies.
Am I getting the two characters mixed up?
That's why I'm like, are you sure it was him? Because
he played Beretta. I know Getty was in the movie.
Oh no, you're thinking of the older guy.
Yeah, like
no, Balthazar Getty. Well, I mean, he's like my age. Probably.
I have to look it up. Beretta.
Yeah, it's like what the hell's his name? I know his name.
Beretta actor. Damn it! It's like
you get a bunch of guns.
Yeah, Robert Blake.
Robert Blake. That's why I'm like, it was not. That's why when you said a real life murderer, I was like, I missed that story. Yeah, no, Robert Blake. Apologies to Balthazar Getty for calling him a murderer for serious, because that Balthazar Getty, as far as we know, is not a murderer. So,
although maybe we should look into it. I mean, he was around the guy. He hung around with a murderer. He's in a movie with him.
Well, come on. How many people act in movies with other people and they really don't like them at all in real life? So
I guess most.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah. How did we get there? What were we talking about? We were talking about New Girls and Spice Girls and
an Airhead response. I could just see that.
Oh, yes. Like,
I'm in your house right now. Really? Oh, did I leave the oven on?
Right, exactly. That's so funny.
I think I'm going to let the stove on. I do that a lot.
Right. I'm one of those people that has to go back and check. I get like, I'm afraid that I left something on, and I know you're like that too. I've been on the phone with you when you have gone back to check.
If I have to drive back, otherwise it'll eat me. And especially because I have gone back and checked, and I have left it on.
Ooh,
it's like, so
that's not good.
I mean, it was once, but
that's enough.
Yep,
that's enough times.
Ugh.
All right, so I have put together rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
It sounded like what is it from Bill and Ted? Wild Stallions. Like the way you said.
Rapid fire.
So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and just first thing that pops into your head. Don't give it a lot of thought. Just answer it immediately, okay?
4'1".
Question 1. What's your social security? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so just kidding. All right. Question 1 is, what is your favorite song to watch a dancer perform to?
Probably never Song to the Siren. That never even occurred. I don't know why that popped into my head, but
what song is it?
Song to the Siren.
By?
Oh, Tim Buckley originally. I really like the John Frusciante version. So
okay, I just was not familiar, so I figured let's let everybody at home know who does the song. So okay, cool. What was the biggest lesson you took away from my book?
Oh, that's not right.
Or any lesson, because to be fair, it's been a while since you read it.
It was Dirty Gollum, and thinking like, be careful who you get to dance with.
That is very true. Not some people, you will get a souvenir,
yes.
and not one that you want.
Yeah, and don't loan your hairbrush.
I was going to say, and to hear that story, you have to get a copy of my book. All right. So what's that?
And it's a very good story.
Oh. She is tricksy. She is false.
She is false. False.
She hates it.
She tips poorly. She takes our tips and we takes them.
It's so funny. I wonder whatever happened to her. All right, so this one we kind of touched on earlier, but we touched on this one earlier, but to bring this back around, what is the biggest misconception about exotic dancers?
Whoa, there's a lot. That all just came rushing into once. Well, the biggest misconception is also a big truth, though, too. Like,
okay, is it like
they're all there for the hustle, but they're not all there to hustle. There's plenty of people who are there who are really good people working their job, and who actually like almost take it like a therapy point of view, like to the specific people who they have that relationship with. So.
Right. So basically, everybody's there to hustle, but some people have blinders on, and it's only about the hustle, whereas other people.
There's people who actually care about other people and are not being exploited and stuff, or exploitative, like beyond anything other than, offering dances and time to hang out. So
very cool. All right, this one, you can tell how much I trust you by this question. What's your favorite Sid story? Be nice.
Oh, wow.
Got 18 years of material.
Let me think. I'm trying to think of things that happen. Some things are like, I keep thinking of you in that Raggedy Ann outfit for some reason. I don't know, but nothing happened. It was just really cute.
That was a really cute Halloween outfit.
What's that?
That was a really cute Halloween outfit.
It was like really cute. And teasing the one person about pee-pee in the tub was funny, but there's like real incidents that I can't think. Like, I wish I'd read through, at least browse through your book to remember. Like, I read folks, when I read her book, it was before it was even published.
I was going to say it was actually on your computer, like just the file
right?
they sent you. Exactly. So it's been.
Oh, wait. I don't even have the print version here to grab now because remember I tried to force it into the public library.
You tried to force it into the public library.
Well, I was too direct. I gave it to them, so I don't know what actually happened to them because I was making a scene a little bit because they had protesters there. So.
Oh, that's right. Remember? I forgot it was on Protester Day. Yes.
Yeah, I strongly suspect it went into a box and then back out. But
it is. There is a copy in my local library, though, so I do have my book in a library. I need to get it into more libraries. So if anyone listening at home knows how to do that, please let me know so we can get it into more libraries.
And you know what? It is a real self-help book, and it's not like it's X-rated; it's R-rated. So
right, exactly.
It's PG-13.
There's might be some R.
Yeah.
R. Probably more because I say fuck more than once, and I think you can only do that in PG-13. Yeah, it's like you only get one.
It's like Deadpool level. Yeah.
Exactly. I love Deadpool so much.
Yeah. It's just the right amount of dirty and funny.
Yes.
And also, and as you might learn in one of the fourth wall breaks, you might learn something from Deadpool.
There you go. For some reason, I was thinking about, because this wasn't with you, but it was when we're going to use a stage name here, Nashua. Wanted a champagne quart, and I was like, no, because I was like way too drunk that night. I forget who came in, and it was like successive like champagne quarts or something, but it was like I was past where.
Down. I was like,
what's that?
You've turned down people. I remember, especially.
Oh yeah.
He went somewhere really. Oh my God, he went like super inappropriate, didn't he? Wasn't that what happened?
Well, there's a whole other story there, but what happened with this was I was like, no, don't waste your money tonight. Do it another night. Tonight's not the night and everything. He insisted, and I did. I fell asleep. He paid $150 to listen to me snore for a half an hour, and I told him not to. So I don't feel guilty about that because I turned it down. It's like the lap dance we were talking about earlier, where it's like, okay, I'm only going to turn it down the money so many times. Yeah. And then you've made the choice to get a less than stellar experience for your buck. So
less than stellar experience for your buck. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Damn it. And there was there's like a million like quips that like I know like that you've said. You had some really good comebacks on people.
I kind of have. I pride myself.
Oh, I know. One of my favorite Sid stories, the Harry Chapin one. Fake Harry Chapin. Yes. The kind of people that come into those places are quite the varieties, just like the workers. Like there's, the regularish type like me who's there looking, for companionship, doesn't know how to talk to girls. So it's a really great place where they come to talk to you.
Right.
And, but I remember you telling me about it, like, because it was before I think we started hanging out. But
yes.
It might have been there. Was it at 7th or another place?
I'm picturing it at another place, but maybe it was there.
It might have been there. Like you would, because I think it was pretty recent when you told. Maybe not. Anyway. Going up to before
it just happened that you were one of the other few people in my circle who knew who Harry Chapin was, because that's what was so funny about it was what are the odds?
Yeah, oh, there's that too. Like, yeah, right. Like that you might run into someone who is totally into Harry Chapin, like you were. It was, and it's even though it's like 2009 in a strip bar.
Right. Exactly.
Although to be honest, that cliche is kind of true. There's a lot of Harry Chapin cats in the cradle syndrome going on in strip club. It's like, sorry, cats in the cradle working the pole, Dad. Some of them have a silver spoon. They can't get rid of it.
But that's what was funny because it wasn't one of his. It wasn't Cats in the Cradle or like
right.
Taxi. It was a better place to be.
A better place to be. Oh, A guy claiming, that's right, you had a guy.
He claimed that he had written this poem, and he had it written on a piece of paper, and I start reading. I'm like, it was an early morning bar room, and the place just opened. I said, this is a Harry Chapin song. And he snatched it out of my hand. He's like, no, it's not. And like ran away because he got caught.
And brave Sir Robin bravely ran away. When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned and ran and fled.
But yeah, that was funny because, again, what are the odds that he ran into a Harry Chapin fan in the titty bar? Like,
he totally ruined my game.
It was exactly how he reacted to. Like, I just totally peed in his Cheerios, and he was not happy about it. But don't try to pass off a brilliant storyteller like Harry Chapin as yourself. So that was funny.
Seriously, the shit people make up.
Just right? Well, the guy that said he was Matt Hasselbeck wearing a Hasselbeck jersey. And I'm like, they don't go out in their jerseys, dumbass. Like, what? Stop it. Even though he didn't even look like him. But, you know, and the guy, there was a player on the Flyers, and a guy was wearing his jersey and telling all the girls that it was, I can't think of his name now, because, again, this was like years ago. Oh, this is going to bother me because I know his name, too. But one of the girls came in, and it was when I was being the house mom, because I was either pregnant with or just had one of my girls. And they're like, oh, my God. Oh, his name just flashed through my head. Is here, you know? And I was like, really? And I run out, and I'm looking at the bar. I'm like, I don't see him. And so she comes back in and points to a guy wearing the jersey of the guy's name. And the guy wearing the jersey was white, and the player was black. I'm like, I 100% guarantee to you that is not. It's going to bother me that I can't think of his name. But I'm like, okay, rule number one, girls, they don't come in wearing their jerseys when they're not playing the game. It's not, you know, they don't wear them out casually.
Just in case I forgot my name. Oh!
Right. Exactly. I was like, no, that is 100% not him.
My name's Gretzky.
Yeah, exactly. I bet somebody's tried to play that. I
wonder what my last name is.
Oh my gosh. All right. Final question, because we're not rapidly anymore. We're like getting off into okay. It is. If you could open your own club, what would you do to set it apart? Your dream titty bar.
My dream titty bar. Fetish room.
I think that's a great idea. That doesn't exist already?
Well, not where I've been. I don't know. I've heard of a couple places that are, well, they're swinger clubs, but that's completely different.
Right. I was going to say that's a different animal, so to speak. Yeah, I think that would be a hit. I just don't know.
Probably too fluidish. But
I always.
It's not a fluid-filled fetish club. You know what I mean? It's like themes and, you know, costumes and...
Yeah. Well, that would make, I like the costume idea. Like, and I think some clubs will have it like a fetish night.
And honestly, a spanking room would be nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the practical side of that, though, is insurance-wise. How would you make that?
Oh, yeah. That.
Not to pee in your Cheerios, because it's not the...
I mean, if that's what somebody wants, though, at the club...
No, we said no fluids.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah. It's like... Yeah, that really is gross now. Thinking, I actually hurt my stomach thinking that.
I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I think that would get a lot of... people to come in, having a safe space to explore that. And in season 1, I did an interview with a dominatrix from Australia who is fantastic.
Oh, I did that one. That is a good one.
Yeah, so if you missed my interview with Artemisia, definitely go back to season 1. I believe it's episode 8, because we had a blast. It was so much fun.
It was a good one. It was very good interview and conversation. So.
Thank you. And if you ever open your club and you need a fetish room, I will connect you guys, because I'm sure she has some really good practical advice for setting it up safely.
Ooh, if that happens to turn around completely. The dream is alive.
Absolutely. Manifest that shit. Just carefully. Don't manifest shit.
Yeah, like I want to be real careful with the manifestation, because the topic's very wishy.
Yeah, you have to be very specific. The universe is a smart ass, so be very specific in your manifestations.
Oh, fuck, the laws of irony have gotten us. Oh, sorry about that. Well, that's a big break.
Oh, here we go again. It's like, it's like the interview and roller coaster ride with my bestie Steve. That's awesome. Well, you know that I could talk to you for another few hours because we do that a lot. But was there anything else that you wanted to contribute to the podcast episode about the book or about clubs?
I can't think of anything. I mean, I was thinking about like all the stuff like we would talk about, like the weird things that happen, like a lot of religious conversations happen in the club. I was like,
that's true.
I was like, I've talked to my counselor about this, and he's like, you don't meet the average strippers, do you? And I'm like, actually, I kind of do. I was like, you know, I was like, everybody's a person.
Exactly. I love that. Everybody's a person. I want that on a t-shirt. But it's true. We've had, like, you and I have had some really good religious conversations, but with other customers as well, like just talking about spirituality and religion.
I mean, I met people who were school teachers in the daytime, and it had to be kept quiet because they had what do they call those, morality clauses and stuff,
right?
And but just people that I learned from stuff, just like people who, like one person I remember I met, one of our first conversations was because she was a home organizer. And what did I learn from the strip club that day? That, like, you just have to develop habits, like put your mail in the same spot every day.
Yes, you never know what you're gonna learn.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like
everything is a teachable moment if you're open to it.
Yeah, like I said, there's like all kinds of people. It's like there are churchy people in the strip club. Yes, there are.
Especially on Ash Wednesday, you can point them out real quick.
It's like,
why would you go in the bar with the ashes on your head? Why? I don't know.
Like, you got a little schmutz up there, and I didn't know. Like, that was at work, actually. My own job is where I first learned about Ash Wednesday. I went to Protestant school. If we ever heard a whisper of Ash Wednesday, it was because that's just some heresy going on.
See, now we still had Ash Wednesday.
Fundamentalist Protestant. So
that's what I was going to say, because Protestant, we had Ash Wednesday.
Did you? Oh, okay. Yeah. So no, we were like, that's some crazy stuff from my perspective. Like, you know, these. But
that's funny. Yep, but they're in there, and I had a guy yelling Bible verses at me, and he got really kind of perplexed when I started yelling them back.
Oh, I love when I would hear a Christian song in the strip club, like Michael W. Smith. I remember hearing "Friends are friends forever when the Lord's the Lord of them" at Cloud 9.
No way. Because I could see like somebody sneaking in Place in This World. Not that that's a good song to dance to, but like Place in This World was at least played on the radio. Friends are friends.
It was Friends are Friends Forever. And it was a girl asking for it because she was quitting that day, and it was going to be, you know, she was going to miss all of her coworkers and friends.
That's hilarious. And see, when I quit the one place, I had Take This Job and Shove It.
Totally different atmosphere, I think, at that club.
And My Life by Billy Joel.
Oh, go ahead with your lone life. Leave me alone.
Exactly. That's so funny. But there's such a variety of music, too, that, you know, you never know what you're going to hear. And I'm sure it's different in different regions of the country, too, because I'm sure, you know, in Texas, they're going to play a lot of country, and, you know, you're not going to hear that up here.
If there are still strip clubs in Texas, I don't know if they banned them yet or not.
Yeah. When I was down there were, because there was one club that was like, we have 99 beautiful women and one ugly one.
God, 99 beauties and one.
I'm like
99 beauties, and bitch, you ain't one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But I always cracked up at that sign. I'm like, okay, that's funny. And I think other clubs picked it up, you know, after it got posted.
I heard that 1,000 times, actually.
That's what I mean. Like, I think it got picked up, but that was the first place I saw it was down in Texas, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh man, I never thought about Texas for that. Because didn't they just ban I think they just banned, not just, but in recent year or so, like you can't get Pornhub and stuff in Texas now. I know you can in Virginia. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, well, when I was in Texas, it was like 2000. You know, it was a long time ago.
That was before they became Christian nationalist Nazis. Okay.
Yeah. Before, what's his name? Ted Cruz trying to control how many dildos you can own.
Yeah. We need a dildo czar.
Just because you look like one, Ted, don't mean you get to control.
You know.
Yeah. Well, before we go down a political road, because I want to avoid that on my podcast, okay. I do want to say thank you for doing this with me. This was so much fun. And I would love to have you on another episode because we always have stuff to talk about.
We do. That's awesome.
Awesome. So. Yay. And as I say at the end of every episode, make sure you take on everything in life head on, because when you stick your head in the sand, you think you're hiding from your problems, but the rest of the world just sees a big ass. Love ya.